Hoya? Well, come on then. Hello, I hope you're doing well on this fine day today. It is that time of year again, the houseplant tour. And over the years, I've shown you my plants in various different spaces and growing conditions. But this year is arguably the most exciting yet, because 9 months ago, I moved out of my 1-bedroom flat and into my house, which is where I am now. And there has been so much more space for plants. But before we get into it, if you're new here, hi, my name's Claire and this is Yoli. I make videos all about houseplant care, sharing tips and tricks I've learnt over the years to help keep your plants happy and healthy. And yeah, I really hope you enjoy the tour. I've had a lot of fun making it. So without further ado, let's get into it. Oh, hiya. Well, come on then. So we've just come through the front door and there are a few plants that I've got in the hallway. I don't typically grow many plants here, firstly because there's not that much space, but also the natural light isn't great. That's east facing and does let in a little bit of light, but if I turn the main lights off, you can see it is a pretty low light spot. But the ones I've got growing here, this one is my Aglaonema Greyhound, and to be honest, it's looking a little bit floppy at the moment. It's one that has been slightly neglected. It's growing in semi-hydro, which I've spoken about in other videos. It's basically an inorganic substrate that just looks like lots of little rocks. And that does make the plant much easier for me to care for because it means I don't have to do quite as much to it. However, I think I got a little bit complacent and I didn't water it for about 3 weeks. So it's bouncing back at the moment, but that is why it's looking a little bit floppy. Nonetheless, though, it is really gorgeous. I love the kind of bluey tinge in its foliage. It's so pretty. And then just next to it, I've got my Dieffenbachia Black Magic. And this one, I mean, it's in the name, isn't it? It is such a dramatic, beautiful plant. I love that centre vein. It is so gorgeous. And it's not velvety per se, but it's definitely not a waxy plant. It almost weirdly kind of feels like fabric. And what I love about this one is like when I'm coming down the stairs, I just think from above, that is so pretty, you know? That one I will say though can be a little bit of a drama queen. It is very susceptible to thrips and I have treated this plant for thrips so many times. I actually had it outside for I think about a month over summer because it was just covered in thrips. So yeah, that is something to be aware of. But then I've got a little propagation here of Scindapsus Silver Hero, and this seems to be the only way I've managed to grow this plant where it's actually happy. Like I had it as a big full plant for a while and it was always just getting very straggly, and so I took some cuttings, put them in water, and that was probably about 8 months ago now. And yeah, as you can see, oh my god, it is so rooty. But that is just how the plant's growing and I just quite like the look of it, so I have done nothing with it and I have just left it there. So yeah, I should probably pot it up, but I can't be bothered, so for now, that's where it lives. And this is a plant that doesn't usually live on the stairs. This is actually one I'm getting rid of, but this is a Hoya Caudatus Sumatra. And I have put it there because my friend Sophie's going to come pick it up. But it's just one that I have kind of fallen out of love with, to be honest. I used to absolutely adore this Hoya. And I don't know, I think sometimes your opinions and feelings towards plants just change and it's not bringing me that much joy anymore. So I have found it a new home. The only thing I'm sad about with that one is that I never got to see it flower though, because when it does flower, I'll put a picture on the screen, but its blooms are actually quite furry, which I just think is gorgeous. But nonetheless, it's off to a lovely new home. And then I have got a Sansevieria just there. Not a lot to say about this one. Again, it is such a robust plant. Sansevieria, which I know has now been reclassified as Dracaena, I still say Sansevieria, but Sansevieria is just amazingly adaptable to loads of different lighting conditions. As I say, this area doesn't get the best light when the lights are off. That's kind of a more realistic view of what that plant actually gets. And it still looks really happy, really healthy. It does very well. But then, oh, hello, Yoli, good girl. Hello, sweetie. Coming through here, obviously my main planty space is through here at the back, and I have got so many exciting things happening in here at the moment. I'm really looking forward to taking you through all of them. But I thought we could actually start at that end of the house and kind of make our way through. So, I don't know why, whenever I film, this room looks really, really dark, hence why like all of the lights are on. It's actually, in reality, not that dark. As I say, it's east facing, so as the sun moves around during the day, it does get quite nice light. But I've got a lot of quite low light plants in here, especially the ones over here, because as you can see, they actually don't get any natural light or any direct light at all, because they're kind of shielded by the post, the bit of the wall. But at the bottom, I've just got some pothos cuttings. Ross got me this for my birthday a couple of years ago. It's meant to look like a book, and you fill it with water and then you just put it in with your other books. And I think it's really lovely. You can get them in all sorts of books, and that was one of my favourites growing up. So yeah, I only did that a few days ago. So hopefully that will start rooting soon. And then coming up, I've got another Aglaonema. You will notice as we go through, there's a bit of a pattern. I absolutely love Aglaonema, and any place in my house that there is like a little dark corner, or I just need a splash of, I don't know, just a bit of something interesting, I will typically put an Aglaonema. This one I believe is Aglaonema Ivy Green. All of them have got kind of random names, but yeah, this is a really lovely one. I love the stripiness of its leaves, and I really don't do much to this plant. I water it maybe once a month or something, and that very much depends on the temperature and the season. But yeah, it's a super low maintenance one, and I think it looks really lovely there. But then on the top shelf, this is a Hoya gracilis, and again, this one is just amazing at not only surviving in lower lighting conditions, but actually putting out loads of growth. Like this one has grown so much recently to the point that I've had to raise it up with some books because it was starting to touch the lower shelf. And when I first moved in, that was not a problem at all. But yeah, it's just so waxy and robust. And this one is arguably even lower maintenance than the Aglaonema I was just showing you. I think I water that Hoya. Oh, I mean, I think I've gone about 3 months without watering it before, and it has stayed looking exactly the same, perky, happy, healthy. I do also grow that type of plant in different conditions as well. I've got one in my plant room, so when we get to that, I'll show you the comparison. But yeah, those are all the plants I am growing there. And then, oh yeah, this little one in the middle of the coffee table. I really need to remember to turn this plant more because it's going very like whoop to one side. But this is just a little Pilia peperomioides. I think it's really pretty. It's a really happy, kind of cheery plant. It's one that I've had in my collection for pretty much as long as I can remember. This isn't the original one that I had, I don't think, but it's a baby of the original. So technically, this plant in some form has been in my care for many, many years. But yeah, as I say, if you don't turn it, that is what happens. But then coming over to the shelves, starting at the bottom, these ones I actually potted up together quite recently. These are actually two separate plants. I've got an Anthurium crystallinum and an Anthurium crystallinum magnificum. So this big one here, this is actually a hybrid of two different types of Anthurium. And you can see that it's magnificum because it is just ginormous. And I love velvet leaf Anthuriums so much. And I know some people say that the hybrids kind of all look the same. I beg to differ. I really, really love them. And oh, you'll see some hybrids in my collection as we go through. I just think this one is beautiful. But yeah, I was trying to just make my life a little bit easier and pot some things together so there was less for me to look after. And I was like, these ones, they've got similar vibes. I think they would be happy together. And I've actually only been growing it in this position for a week and a half, 2 weeks, just because it wouldn't fit in the spot I had it in before. But I have no doubt that with the window just there, this hopefully should keep the plant happy. It certainly looks gorgeous there. I love just sitting on the sofa and seeing it. It's so gorgeous. And then that one there, that's again some more Hoya gracilis cuttings, just rooting in water. Again, they've been rooting in water for a very long time and could be potted up. But then here, this is another Aglaonema. This, I believe, is Aglaonema lemon lime. Again, as I have already said, this is just a genus that I love. It stays looking really happy, really healthy with minimal care. I watered this one whenever I think of it, really. I wait for its soil to pretty much completely dry out. And as you can see, although it is by a window, it is in quite a shaded spot and it's still putting out lovely growth. So yeah, just look at that foliage. Isn't that gorgeous? But then the one I am holding back there, that is an Anthurium morona. And I love this Anthurium. I'm such a fan of strappy plants in general. I just think they are lovely. However, this one is so slow to grow. Like about a month ago, I saw that it was starting to, or so I thought, starting to give me a new growth point. And I was like, oh my goodness, how exciting. Maybe I'll get my annual leaf from this plant. And still nothing has happened. It's just, I don't know. I don't know if it's the plant not happy. I don't know if maybe it needs more light, although I would have thought this was all right for it, but I don't know. If any of you have any thoughts or theories, comment them down below because I would be interested to know. But yeah, it is a really beautiful one to look at. I really like how it's kind of quite waxy and robust because a lot of my other strappy plants are more kind of velvety. So yeah, this has got nice versatility, which I like in my collection. And then the top shelf here. So this weird looking plant that's kind of going out everywhere is my Philodendron Dean McDowell. And it's not looking as happy as it could be. This one took a very dramatic tumble when I was away recently, and bless Ross had to deal with it and try and fix the leaves. You can see there's one there that he's kind of put some cling film and a stake there and tried to make survive. However, there were lots that we lost, which was a shame. However, in doing so, in like breaking the main stem, it has meant that the plant has started putting out this bit of new growth. Like that little leaf there at the top, that wasn't there before, and this growth point has shot out of nowhere. So I'm really hoping that in fact in the long run it might mean that the plant is a bit more like full and bushy. I don't know, but yeah, a lot of it is just looking very sad at the moment. I wasn't convinced that this spot was the best for this plant anyway. I wasn't convinced I liked the look of it. Ironically, I was starting to come around to it before the plant took a tumble, but yeah, I guess we'll just wait and see what happens and how it grows back. But then I've got a variegated ivy just here. This one's doing all right. It's doing okay. I really like how it's like framing the window. I think that looks really pretty. It's a plant that I have previously really struggled with. Like if you watch my videos when I was at the flat, I just couldn't grow this plant. And I was like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know what I'm doing wrong because I'm doing everything right that Google is telling me to do. And I just couldn't grow it. It died every time. And I got this one here, I think probably about 7 months ago now. And obviously it's still alive. It's still growing. But it just has started looking not as good as it did before. It's looking a little bit faded and it's got quite a lot of browning on some of its leaves. Do you see there? And I'm like, is that humidity related? I don't know. It's funny because this is a plant that in the UK you see growing out and about like everywhere. So you would have thought that it's a relatively straightforward one to grow, but maybe it just doesn't like a home environment. I don't know. I really don't know. But then this one here growing in the window, this is an Ace Cananthus, and I think 'cause we're working against the window, it might not be the easiest to show you, but it is so pretty. I've said it so many times before, but oh, I just knocked loads of leaves off. Whoops. I am such a massive one for texture in houseplants, and I just really love, like, especially when the sun's coming through the window, just looking and seeing this one kind of, I don't know, just all the different shades of green catching, and yeah, it's really lovely. This is the first time I've looked at it properly up close in a while, and I'm seeing that it could, oh yeah, lots of leaves are dropping. Oh dear, it could do with a bit of TLC actually. I was going to say, you'll notice with a lot of my, especially hanging plants actually, but these are just nursery pots that I revamp with like macrame cord and glue. It's just a much easier, cheaper way of doing things. And I'm a massive DIY gal. I love getting my glue gun out. Same with the hangers. All of the hangers that you'll see pretty much are ones that I've made. I have made videos on how I do that. If you want to go and watch them, I will link them down below. But then the plants behind the sofa. Let's start here. Okay, so this one is currently looking really lovely. This is my Hawaiian palm, and this is one that I have struggled with constantly since I got it. I got it from Grow Tropicals, I believe. I absolutely love Grow Tropicals, and I'll again link them down below. In fact, I think I've got a discount code for them, so I will definitely link that down below. But this is a plant that I have never grown before. I heard it was quite easy to grow actually, and I was like, oh, I'm looking for something quite low maintenance. Maybe that will be a good one to try. And within like a week of owning it, things just started going really, really wrong. And then it got thrips. And because like, if you look in there, you can see how dense and compact its growth is. All of the thrips got into that. And I was like, that is a nightmare. So as you can see at the bottom, it's missing a lot of leaves and it's looking a little bit sparse, but all of this stuff here that you see is new growth. So I really hope, oh no, there we go. I really hope that we have now turned a corner and this one will be doing better for me because it's so gorgeous. So yeah, keep your fingers crossed for that one. And then this is a Sansevieria, and I, at the beginning of last year, I think, got absolutely obsessed with weird and wonderful types of Sansevieria. Oh, and in fact, I will take this one off the windowsill as well to show you properly. But this is a Bantel's Sensation, and isn't it just gorgeous? I just love the variegation on it, and I love how its leaves are much thinner than often they are with Sansevieria. Like, it's almost, if you know the Kirkii, the Sansevieria Kirkii, it's almost like a variegated Kirkii. And yeah, I just think it's lovely. Again, it's super easy to grow, very little care required. This is another pot that I revamped and decorated. But yeah, it's just a great one. I really love it. I've got a Euphorbia here. This is a Euphorbia trigona. I won't take this one off and show you because we will be coming to big Euphorbias in a moment and we can talk more about them then. But again, this is a really easy one to grow. It just lives happily on the windowsill. I water it when the soil is bone dry, which is pretty much, not that one, pretty much the case for most of these actually. I will tell you otherwise as we get to them, but most of these ones are let them dry out, stick a finger in the soil. When they're really dry, give them some water. So yeah, I typically think of this as quite a low maintenance shelf of plants. And these ones here, these are just some propagations. And again, I have got the mother plant, so we can see her shortly. But this is Hoya pubicalyx Hawaiian. So very similar to the standard Hoya pubicalyx, but its new growth, which you can kind of see there. Its new growth comes in quite purpley. Yeah, I haven't got a huge amount to say about it. It's just propping in water. The water is a bit green. It could do with a change. Yeah, I keep meaning to pot it back up with the mother plant actually. It's been on my to-do list for months. and I haven't done it. Typically, I will just deal with the stuff that is like staring me in the face and I feel bad about. And that is growing happily, so we're just leaving it. And then another Sansevieria. This one is a Sansevieria Moonshine, and oh my goodness, again, take it off the shelf. But just look at the colour of that one. Isn't it beautiful? It's kind of lime green with bits of kind of bluiness in it, and I just think it's gorgeous. I've actually used a very little pot to just kind of raise this one up a little bit, which I know is probably a silly thing to do because it is quite wobbly, but I just like being able to see it from behind the sofa, and otherwise I couldn't really see it. So when it gets bigger, I hopefully won't have to use the little pot. But then this is one that does not like to dry out. This is one of the anomaly ones. This is my Alocasia Platinum, and I'm also a massive Alocasia fan. Most of my Alocasias grow through in my main planty space, but this one I think, because it is just a little bit more robust, I do just let it grow here, and I again am growing this one in semi-hydro, which I'll give you a proper look at. That is what it looks like. And whenever the reservoir at the bottom of water has dried out, I'll just top it up. And really, that's all I do for this plant. But isn't it beautiful? Again, oh, hello, Yoli. Yoli's agreeing. Yes, it is beautiful. But yeah, I just love the colour of the leaves of this one. It's so stunning. And like the veination is just kind of, it's very dark, but it's almost like shadowy. So yeah, it's very, very gorgeous. Whenever I walk up the garden path to get home, I always look at that one through the window and I'm like, oh, it's gorgeous. And then next to it, this is just a cutting propagating. This is another Aglaonema. This is Aglaonema Silver Queen, I think. And oh yeah, it's got, oh God, loads of roots in there. And yeah, I should really pot it up. Again, I've used another little thing to raise it up. But yeah, I've got the mother plant of that. In fact, I've got a few sections of that plant. I've chopped it up so many times. So I should pot them back up together. You'll see a lot of that as we go through. And this weird one, I'm going to take this off. And in fact, I will put that on the coffee table and I will just zoom up with my camera to give you the full dramatic effect of this weird plant. It keeps going. Ta-da! So this is the Alocasia longiloba silver, and as you can see, it has got maybe the world's longest petiole, and that is the only leaf it's got. I have struggled so much with this plant. I spoke about it in a video recently, but it's one that I just feel like I can't figure out. Like, I have grown it in so many different conditions and it only ever has one leaf. And don't get me wrong, I am happy with the one leaf it has, but I just kind of wish it was a bit fuller, you know? It looks a bit comical. But it is also one that I've struggled with pests with. Like, if you look at the back of the leaf, you can see that's all pest damage there. And it was thrips and spider mites I had with this one at one point, which was not fun. So yeah, this has definitely not been my easiest Alocasia, but it's one that I really hope to turn a corner with at some point soon, because the potential of that plant is amazing. It really is. But yeah, and then I have got, ooh, I want to say that this is called like a silver flame or something. It's a Sansevieria. This one needs some desperate TLC. Again, I know I'm saying that about a lot of them. But this one here has just got like pups coming out of the pot and all sorts, and it really, like, you can see the shape of the pot, it's like breaking out of its nursery pot, and I don't give it enough attention. I obviously have like gone through and watered everything in preparation for filming this video because I want things to look nice, but also that, like, I think the fact that a lot of them are hydrated is perhaps disguising some of the things that actually need to be done to them. I was also going to say, because I know I always get it in my videos, people saying, oh my God, how do you look after that many plants? Or, oh my goodness, I feel so bad that my plants don't look as good. I just want to remind you guys that I do YouTube full time. And yes, I've got a lot of plants, but I also always have lots of things going wrong with them. And I also have more time than a lot of people to dedicate to this. So it's not that you're bad with plants, it's just that I have more time, you know. But then this one is gorgeous. I love this Euphorbia so much. It's the Euphorbia lactea white ghost. And this one, is caught on that one and is about to tear it down. Yeah, this one is absolutely gorgeous and on the whole has been really easy to grow. However, again, I have struggled with mealybugs with this one so much. The last time I actually gave it a treatment, I completely spritzed the whole plant down with isopropyl alcohol, and I haven't seen any mealybugs since then. But that's not to say that they won't come back, so I'm just keeping a very close eye on it. And fingers crossed that's the last I'll have to do, because I just really want to grow this one big and beautiful. I know it's already big and beautiful, but like huge, you know? I don't know where I'm going to put it. I don't know where the space for it's going to be, but that's the goal. And then next to it, in fact, this little one down here, this is a Hoya. Oh God, what's this one called? It's called something like Sol Gamiara or something. I'll put the name on the screen. Very sweet little Hoya, needs a bit of attention. It's honestly like it really should be on a trellis, and it really should be in a bigger pot as well. I've just got a bit lazy and I have not done anything to it since I first got it, which was at Malvern over the summer. So I think I've had it for 4 months now, something like that, 3-4 months. But then this one here, this is my Hoya australis Lisa, and this is one of my favourite Hoyas. I absolutely love it. I love how its new growth comes in kind of pinky when it's got enough light, and it looks so sunsetty and beautiful. But this is a really good time to be showing you it, guys, because it's actually blooming. This one here has just about died off. Yeah, they're falling off now. However, it's blooming at so many points. Look at that, it's got lovely flowers there. It's got more that are literally about to burst all the way up here. Yeah, look at that. And again, I know just kind of tying it to the window frame is probably not the best way to be growing the plant long term. It's a Hoya, it likes to tendril, and in fact you can see it's got a tendril there that's trying to climb one of my euphorbias. It does need a trellis, so what I'm actually thinking is maybe tying like a long piece of cord or something across the window and encouraging it to climb around that and kind of tucking it behind the blinds. Because yeah, at the moment I've just used those like twisty grip clips and you just stick them on. I'll link them down below again. I was going to say anything I talk about in this video that seems useful, I will link in the description below. But yeah, I use that to train like all of my plants that I want to. But yeah, so excited for those flowers to bloom. It has never bloomed for me before, and this year it's bloomed multiple times, which is so exciting. But then the big boys, my euphorbias. Oh my goodness. I never used to be a cacti or succulent person. These actually are not cacti. They are in fact succulents, but lots of people, obviously for obvious reasons, believe they are succulents. Believe they are cacti, sorry. They are also commonly known as cowboy cacti for that reason. God, that was a struggle to say. But since I have installed that grow light, they have just gone crazy. Like if you look at this one here, this one's my variegated Euphorbia amac. And again, I'll turn around so you can hopefully see it a little bit better. Can you tell at the top there, all of that is new growth. And if you look at this section down here as well, just look, it is growing like crazy. And this one here, this is my original Euphorbia. I've had this one, oh my God, I must have had this one for about 7 years now, and it was really small when I first got it. It probably was about there, and in fact at the bottom, you see that brown bit there, that's all corking, which basically means the plant has got so big, it's kind of turning into like a tree trunk to support the weight of the plant. And it's so clever how plants do that, because obviously like the main stem, the main bit of succulent doesn't get any kind of thicker or bigger, so that's how it reinforces itself. And yeah, it has grown so much and it is such a beast now. If you watched my moving house vlog when I first moved in here at the beginning of the year, you'll remember I had to package these ones so carefully. Like it took me like an hour to wrap them up to make sure they didn't get damaged. But yeah, it's also got some new little growth points coming up there, which is exciting. But I just think they are both lovely. And also, for those of you wanting to know grow light wise, that one there is a Sansi grow bulb. And I've got a few of those in my collection that you'll see as we go round. But yeah, keeping them really happy. I've got it on a timer as well, so it comes on and off without me having to do anything, which is quite handy. But then this one here. Oh, so my Monstera deliciosa looks really like big and crazy, and actually I've completely cheated this. I have raised its pot up, in fact in a very bad way, but you wouldn't know because it's covered by leaves. I've raised its pot up on a stool and then stuck a block of wood underneath it to stop it from toppling over. So it makes it appear much bigger than it actually is. It also lost loads of leaves down at the bottom of the plant, so it could be looking a bit sparse if I hadn't cheated it, but I have. But no, this Monstera is one of the first, like, I was going to say more exciting plants that I propagated. One of the, I don't know, for me, more interesting plants that I propagated over lockdown. I'd only really propagated like Epipremnum, like Pothos and stuff like that before. And yeah, this was a one leaf cutting and now it is absolutely ginormous. It didn't have any fenestrations when I first propped it. So yeah, it's doing really well. And then down at the bottom, this is Aglaonema Central. I've got so many down here. This one that's literally in the pot of the Monstera. And this one actually, God, I need to do more to this because it is growing in sphagnum moss. And I have meant to like pot this up properly for about a year. Oh, and you can see flies, little fungus gnats buzzing around it as well. I have just done a nematode treatment to get rid of the fungus gnats, but I didn't do it to any of the plants in this room, so that needs to go on my to-do list. But yeah, I can't remember if I said that one is Aglaonema tigress. I've got another Aglaonema down here. This is Aglaonema white lance. Really pretty foliage again. This one's a fairly new one in my collection, and I think it's called, I want to say aquamarine, but I think I might be wrong about that. Aqua something. And it's just got, I mean, such beautiful, I was going to say aquatic leaves. You know what I mean? You can kind of see where it gets its name from. They're so pretty. And then this big Aglaonema, I actually don't know what type of Aglaonema this is. So if any of you guys know, please let me know down in the comments. I have never managed to get an accurate ID on this one. All of these Aglaonema all grow in like very similar ways, obviously very like exactly the same conditions. I very rarely need to do anything to them because they are such low maintenance plants and they grow pretty quickly and they're all fantastic. But yeah, I'd really like to know what this one is. So if you know, let me know. And then I've got another Aglaonema over here on the other side of the fireplace. One of my favourites, this is the Aglaonema stripes. And yeah, it's just so lovely. This one is actually one I'm growing in semi-hydro. The others I just showed you I'm growing in soil. But yeah, it's growing well like that. It's putting out a whole new growth point there as well, which is exciting. Oh, hello, Yoli. Hello, baby girl. Do we need a quick cuddle? Hello, sweetheart. Okay, where did we get to? So, mantelpiece, I've got, oh, I forgot to water this one actually, a little Acanthus. I think this one's meant to be variegated, but I think it has reverted, probably partly due to the fact that I am growing it in quite low light, like not massively low light, but it doesn't get any direct light, if that makes sense. It's in a little planter that Ross made, which is fun. You'll see lots of weird and wonderful little rosters as we go around. Anything that looks weird, that is something that Ross made. So yeah, but I like that one because he's left the eyes clear, so it means I can just monitor the reservoir, which I have not done. But usually, in principle, that is what I can do. And then I've got some cuttings, again in a little roster, some Hoya linearis cuttings. I don't really know why these are still propping. They have been here for such a long time. To be honest, I think I just like the look of them in here more than I feel the need to propagate the plant. So yeah, that's where they stay for now. They're just propping in water. Then I've got a lucky bamboo, which I think is actually Dracaena sanderiana. I think that's what its a Latin name is. But again, this one, oh my God, this one will grow in like any lighting condition. It is so ridiculously adaptable. And if you're just looking for something to just fill a little spot of green and add a little bit of personality, it's obviously got that curly whirly stem. It's just quite quirky. I think it's a great one, personally. I sometimes have it on the dining table. At the moment, that's where it is. But yeah, it's very easy indeed. And as I say, literally just grows in water. I do need to probably put it in a bigger container because it is putting out growth there, and I don't think I'm going to be able to get that out. But yeah, it's a really lovely little one. And then I've got a Hoya Wyetii here, Wyetii. And I really like this one, but I think since I've lived here, I haven't really paid this one much attention, just because, again, it's a plant that doesn't need that much care, especially if it's not growing in very high light, which this one isn't. And so a lot of the time, the plants that I don't do much to, although I can look at them and appreciate them, I almost don't have the same relationship with them because I'm not caring for them so much, if that makes any sense at all. Yeah, as I say, most of my high need intensity plants are over in that space, so we'll get to them shortly. But yeah, I really like it nonetheless. And then the only plant that is miraculously not just surviving but growing in this space up here is my Aglaonema Jubilee compactor. And oh dear, I'm going to have to move one of Ross's creations. That's Hellboy, I believe. I'm going to have to move that to take it out. Yeah, there we go. You can see it a bit better, but it's so pretty. So gorgeous. Again, my love of Aglaonema will never die. It's such a great genus. This one I'm actually growing. It is in semi-hydro in there. I'm not sure how I will ever get this plant out of this container, but I feel like that's something I will figure out in the next few years, because although it is fast to grow, it's not like ridiculously quick in this spot, which I don't mind. So yeah, that is where it is staying for now. But that is a spot that I'm genuinely amazed any plant could grow in, because it's completely covered, and that is not a grow light, that's just a lamp. And then this Hoya here, this is another one that I need to do things to. It's really gorgeous, and it's got such big leaves. I think it's the Hoya CV Joy, the cultivar of joy. And yeah, it's got this big long tendril at the end of it, which if I pop it back down again, you can see just there, which really is crying out for a trellis, and I have not done that. So yeah, to be honest, it's just a bit of a space filler at the moment, which I don't like, but I do also just like having a bit of green there. So it's growing, but it could be growing better if I were to put more measures in place to care for the plant. But those are all of the plants in this space here, I believe. I think we've gone through everything. So let's go through to... Well, let's do the dining room first. There's not much in the dining room at the moment. But here in the corner, I've got my bird of paradise, which, again, I've got a grow light above it. I actually only put that grow light in quite recently because that plant previously was growing through in my plant room, and I just ran out of space, and I was like, I need to find a new spot for it. It's a Grow Gang light, and in fact, that's what I was going to do. They very kindly sent me another one to try out, which I haven't tried out yet, but I use them as a brand anyway. I think they're really awesome, so I will do that at some point. But yeah, it's growing really well there. It's putting out lots of new growth at the bottom. I just love the look of this plant. It is such a jungly plant, It's one of the ones in my collection that I'm like, if I had to scrap everything and start over again, and I wanted to make my house immediately feel like a jungle, I would get a bird of paradise, It's really easy to look after as well. It does just need high levels of light or a grow light. So yeah, it's a great one. And then in its pot, beneath it, I've put my Acanthus marmoratus, and I've been inspired recently to try a few more just kind of like naturalistic ways of growing. I think like going to glass houses like Kew and Wisley and stuff like that, I've just looked at the way that a lot of their plants grow. Also look at the back of those leaves, aren't they pretty? Yeah, looked at the way that their plants grow, kind of mimicking their natural environment, and I love that. I'd love to try and make my collection feel a little bit more like that. So yeah, this one is just so pretty, so lovely. But yeah, it seems happy like that for the time being, but I'm just monitoring it as I always do whenever I change my plant's positions, and if it starts to look unhappy, I'll rethink things, but right now it seems fine. Got another little roster just there. Oh, and behind it, I can see a new leaf that I hadn't even noticed, that I may actually need to help after this because I think it's going to get a bit stuck. But yeah, that's exciting. And then the other big plants that I've got in this space is my Dieffenbachia tropic snow. And this one is so lovely. In fact, I will come round so I can kind of properly show you this plant. Again, this is one I've slightly cheated. It's not as big as it actually looks. I have got it on a stand and I've got it in a very big pot and like tray that I've put on top of the stand to really raise it up. But still, look at the size of those leaves. Aren't they amazing? Yeah, and this plant is one that not only looks gorgeous, but has a really lovely story behind it. One of my best friends, who's also planty, Emma Good Growing, she got married and she had a really house-planty wedding, and there were loads and loads of plants everywhere. And yeah, this is one that I was kind of dancing around all night. And at the end of it, I was like, I want to buy that plant. And I did. And yeah, it was a lovely thing to remember her wedding by. But also, I just think it brings so much light to this area, which could be quite dark, you know. Again, I know I've got the lights on at the moment to kind of make it feel a little bit brighter on camera, but yeah, this can be quite a dark space. And then of course my grow cabinet. So you will notice currently my cabinet is completely empty. It was, the last time I did a houseplant tour, it was filled with plants. And I have I have big plans for this cabinet. And if you've watched my other videos, then you'll have heard me talk about how I want to essentially turn it into a massive terrarium. I'm going to seal the whole thing up. I'm going to like cork out the backboard and basically make it look like a little slice of rainforest. Maybe get some like, I don't know, some water features. And I don't know, I've got all of these big ideas, but I haven't started any of them yet. So currently I've just got some bark in there and cork waiting for me to do things with it. And I haven't got around to it. But then on top of the cabinet, I've got a spider plant there on the right, variegated spider plant. That one could probably do with a pot upgrade actually. It's shooting out babies left, right and centre. I know some people are quite opposed to spider plants and I really like them. I think they are lovely plants. I think they're very jolly. I think for most people, actually no, I don't want to generalise. For a lot of people, they seem to be quite easy. But then again, I do know some people that I would consider really good with plants that just find them quite difficult. I get up there and kind of give you a proper shot of it. I know it kind of just looks like a grass, but I really like it. And then I've just got some Scindapsus cuttings there. I've got loads of Scindapsus cuttings about the place. That one I think is just Trebby, and then I've got some Argyraeus in there as well. Just propping in water. And then let's go through to the kitchen, shall we? We're not going to look at that side of the kitchen because that's the side I haven't tidied. This is the side that is prepared for the camera. But again, I'll pop the lights on just so that we can see things a little bit better. But at my old flat, I had plants literally all over the kitchen sides and I really wanted to try and make everything as planty as possible. Now that we have, oh God, so lucky, now that we've got the house and we've got a bit more space to play with, I've tried to just keep plants apart from like a couple of little things. Try to just keep plants here so that we've got like kitchen space to be able to play with. But this one is obviously a golden pothos, epipremnum. I love a pothos. I've got so many of them, I can't even count. I'm constantly propagating it. I just think they are the most wonderful plants for just adding a bit of greenery to pretty much any space and making it look lovely. Again, these twisty clips are the ones that I've already mentioned. I use them for everything. And then down here, this Hoya. What is this Hoya? I have a feeling this is actually a hybrid Hoya. And I should know the name of it, but I've completely forgotten. But it's so splashy and bluey. Isn't it lovely? Again, I got this one when I was at Malvern earlier this year. And that's why, I brought it through to the kitchen. And I was like, why did I bring it through? I was gonna put it on a new trellis, and this was about a month ago, and I completely forgot. So, yep, again, I'm gonna leave that out, in fact, and that will remind me to do that, because otherwise I would just forget. But then I've got my Dracaena goldiana. This one is so stunning. And this big section up here I've had for, I want to say maybe about a year, maybe, a year to 2 years, let's say. But yeah, it's really lovely. It's really easy as well. But then you'll notice I have got some little ones potted down here. And these are actually a couple that came from my Malvern show garden. I did an RHS show garden earlier this year. And these were part of it. So yeah, it's quite nice to have little bits of them in my collection. And it's also just really helped to like fill out the plant and make it look better. So yeah, also hilarious. This is Ross as a baby. Look how big he is. But yes, anyway, moving along. This one here is looking quite raggedy and does need a chop back and a reset, I think. It's a Plectranthus galligalio, something like that. And this is the plant that I always whip out whenever I've got friends over, just because if you rub its leaves and then you smell your fingers, it smells so much like marijuana. It smells just like weed. So yeah, it's quite a fun like party trick plant. It was also variegated and it has reverted. So I think maybe if I chop it right back, I might be able to get some of the variegation back. But yeah, it is one, I must say, that I have just ignored a little bit. And again, I actually don't know what this is. My guess would be some kind of euphorbia. Why the top is doing that, I don't know, but I suspect maybe like flat mites or something. I should really do something about this. But I took this plant as a cutting when I went to Lanzarote, and I actually didn't realise at the time that you weren't allowed to do that. So this is a bit of a naughty plant. Maybe the top of this plant is calmer. Yeah, shouldn't have done that, but I brought it home and I was like, I'll grow it and it'll be a lovely little memory from the holiday. And it hasn't grown and it has just looked awful ever since. So yeah, it's been a good few years and it's just done nothing. So I think maybe I should part with this plant. This is definitely one that I need to rethink anyway. And then I've got a Dracaena just here. This is one I've mentioned in so many videos before that I'm thinking of getting rid of. I am always so on the fence with this plant. It's one that is very consistent. It's always just kind of there. It always looks fine. It doesn't excite me, no, but it does just bring a little bit of greenery. So yeah, if someone came along and went, I want that plant, I would go, cool, there you go, before I get millions of comments from you guys saying, I'll have it. I am really bad at sending things out in the post. I will do it at times where my brain feels that it is possible, and at other times I'm just really bad. So sometimes I will put things on Instagram saying, if you want this plant, let me know and I'll send it to you. But yeah, I will at some point find it a really good home. I may well put it on Instagram, so if you are interested in any of these plants, just keep an eye on my stories and I may well post them over there at some point. Wow, that was a rant, wasn't it? Also, I was going to say, all of these little teacups, I've started collecting little teacups. I think they're adorable. I'm not going to take you through every single succulent, mainly because I don't know what every single succulent is. I got a bundle cutting from Etsy, but some of them have started to grow. And just look how adorable that is. Isn't that so sweet? I just love planting into things that are unconventional, and I don't know, in the kitchen I was like, this is just a really nice touch. Yeah, I've got every single teacup completely different, found in different places, and yeah, loads of succulents that hopefully will turn into big lovely plants at some point. I'm not hugely into a lot of these succulents actually, so I might, I don't know, maybe I'll prop them and then give them as gifts to people. I haven't really thought that far ahead, to be honest. But yes, I've also got more succulents just like there that are kind of rooting. I know you shouldn't really prop them in water, but I didn't have any more little cups, okay? And then I've got my begonia Sinbad, and oh, this is a begonia that I have loved so much in my time of owning, and at one point it was huge and it was big and it was gorgeous. And it just went downhill one day and I could not do anything to save it. So I took some cuttings and they are more than, oh my God, look at that. That's all roots. They've been rooting in there for such a long time. So in theory, it's more than ready to be potted back up. But I don't know, I just feel like every time I start with that plant, it'll look gorgeous for a couple of months and then it will just look so awful again that it makes me think, should I bother? You know. So again, long term, if any of you have any tips for not just begonia Sinbad actually, but just cane begonia in general, I would really, really appreciate it, because I always just find they end up looking a little bit raggedy. Yeah, and if any of you have any tips about any of these plants, honestly, please don't think it's you being critical or I will perceive it that way. I would genuinely really be interested to know your thoughts. And then I've got a philodendron Jose Bueno. This one I chopped up a while ago just because I wasn't a massive fan of the way it was growing. I propped it in water and it is so rooty now. Like, it really does need potting up. It's a really lovely one, but I think because it gets so big so quickly, I love it, but I'm also like, where will I put it? I often have this debate with myself about like where I'm going to put plants and like, is actually the joy of growing them, is that worth it, and all of this stuff. My ultimate dream would be, so that's the plant room just there, and obviously this is outside, we're not going to look at the mess out there, but my ultimate dream would be to like build a little like greenhouse extension onto this bit of patio and have loads more plants in there. That's the dream. Can I afford to do that? No, but that is what I would like to do at some point in a few years. So then I will be able to grow this plant big and let it reach its full potential. I've also just got a couple of little tillandsias here, little air plants. I haven't done anything to these. There's one there and there's another one up there. I haven't done anything to them in ages, like literally months and months and months. I know you're meant to like soak them and stuff from time to time or spray them. I've done nothing. I think the humidity in this space must just be good enough that they're just kind of doing their thing. And then I've got some more Sansevieria Moonshine. I know I've already shown you this plant, but again, really lovely, bluey. Oh no, I'm all caught. Bluey, greeny, lovely. Oh, okay. My sleeve just keeps getting caught. Yes, it's a really lovely plant. It's a very easy one. That one I'm actually propagating in sphagnum moss. It was part of the same mother plant that I showed you earlier, but I decided to take some cuttings, propagate. It's ready to be potted in soil. I just haven't got around to it yet. And then this is a Peperomia obtusifolia, I think. Is it? I never talk about this one. I'm pretty sure it is, and it looks very lovely. I do find weirdly that this type of Peperomia is also really susceptible to thrips, which you might not think by just looking at it. But yeah, touch wood, I believe this one is all in the clear at the moment. I actually haven't had thrips on this exact section of it, but there was a bit that I chopped up that I potted through my plant room. I chopped it up about 3 months ago because it was just infested. So yeah, that one is growing very happily there. Got some Dischidia Oiantha cuttings just rooting in water there. They are also very much rooted. I could pot them up, but I just like the look of them in that weird little roster that Ross made. And then I've got Hoya obovata variegata, which usually faces the other way. I have turned it round for the purpose of this video so that you're not just seeing the back of the plant. I'm scared to move it though, because it usually just leans up against the window. Kind of get a sense of it here. It was more variegated when I first got it, and I think the reason that so much of its variegation has faded is again because I have been growing it in quite low light. I know the spot it's in here, sorry, I know you can barely see it. The spot it's in here is getting quite good light, but before it was just by the fireplace, and that really wasn't enough for it. But since I've moved it here, it started throwing out loads of new growth. So yeah, hopefully it's the start of lots of lovely things for this plant. Again, it would appreciate a trellis. It's another thing on the to-do list. I should be walking around with like a pen and paper. Talking of that, I was going to say, I know some of you guys before have asked how many plants I have. Firstly, right now, I honestly don't know. If any of you fancy counting in this video and letting me know, I'd appreciate it. But I have got rid of quite a lot of stuff since the last houseplant tour that you saw on my channel. I used to have, oh my God, at one point I think I had just under 400 houseplants. And bearing in mind, I know I said earlier in the video, I do this day in, day out. Like I make content on plants all the time. Therefore, I do have more time to dedicate to plants than a lot of people would. And I'm very fortunate in that position. Even that for me was too much. So although I've still got a lot of plants, I know I have, it is probably significantly less than it was in my last plant tour because I've had a big downsize. And there's some, moving on to the next plant, there's some actually that I am still wanting to get rid of. I know I spoke about the Dracaena, but this one is a reverted variegated bell marks. Is it? Yes. Yeah, I think it is. And yeah, I have got rid of so many sections of this plant, and I've always just thought to myself, maybe you'll want it again at some point. So I've always kept a bit back for myself. And I don't know, it's just, I'm still like, it's a lovely space filler and I enjoy it. I just never really notice it, to be honest. And I'm like, if I'm not noticing it, I'm sure it could make someone else happier. So I might look for a new home for this plant at some point. I don't know. And then this one, this is looking a little bit straggly actually. I'm sorry to be showing you this plant in this current state that it's in, because it is one of my favourite plants. It's a Coleus amboinicus, which is commonly known as Mexican mint or Cuban oregano. And again, if you like stroke the leaves, smell your fingers, it smells really fragrant and lovely, and you can use it in cooking. I do actually, like whenever I'm making like a salad or something like that, I'll often chop some leaves off and chop them up into it. But firstly, it is really due for a repot. It has been in that pot for such a long time, but also I think because I have chopped it back so much, it might have just messed with the growth of the plant. I think maybe I should just leave it alone for a little while. But yeah, it's a really cool one. See, it's got lots of new growth coming there. Oh, let's hope that's not pests. I think that's just soil. I think we're all right. But yeah, it's really lovely. And it's also really fuzzy, which I love. I was at one point creating like an edible garden in the kitchen and like having all things that you could cook with. I've kind of given up on that for the time being. I'm not saying I won't go back to that, but I just needed this space for other plants, so they have taken priority. But then I've got my neon pothos just up here. This I got as cuttings from another plant swap at one point, and yeah, I think I might have got a few cuttings from different people, but it's grown beautifully, and yeah, it's a really happy plant now. And then just some cuttings here, which again have been like this since I lived in the flat, and even then they'd been propagating for at least a year, I would say. I've got a mix of all sorts. I think I've got some Croniana, Hoya Croniana, some Hoya Curtisii. I really love the Curtisii, however, find it really hard to grow in anything other but water. So actually it growing like this allows me to be able to actually like appreciate the foliage of the plant. But whenever I've tried growing it in soil or like in a more epiphytic mix with lots of bark and tree fern fibre, like all of the right things, it's never been happy. So yeah, that's how I'm growing all of that. But if you look through there, like when the light catches it, can you see how rooty that is? Yeah, very, very rooty indeed. But then the only other, well, I've got a few little things. This one is a section of my Hoya globulosa Welsh Mountain Zoo. It is such a lovely Hoya, and I chopped it up a while ago just to, I think it actually had root mealybugs. I think that's why I chopped it up. But I'll bring it here so you can see it a little bit better. Just look at that veination. Isn't that lovely? And also, if you look at the back of the leaf, not sure how well it will show on camera. Oh yeah, like it's so fuzzy and furry. Like that is so soft. So yeah, I will at some point pot it up with the rest of the plant and hopefully get a new plant going. Oh, I forgot about that one as well. This is another one that I've threatened to get rid of many, many times. It's a Hoya dasyantha, and I think it's really nice. I just don't think it's one, I don't know, you know when some plants just don't bring you as much joy as others? Again, this is one that I overlook quite a lot and I neglect quite a lot, so I think I should probably find it. Someone who loves it. But then this is the mother plant of the Hoya pubicalis Hawaiian that I showed you cuttings of earlier. This one, I like, again, I could absolutely pot the other cuttings back up with it, but it's, I don't know, it's growing pretty well like this. Again, it's such a low maintenance plant. I just like having that little splash of greenery when you come into the kitchen. Like, I know it's not a particularly practical place. Like if we take out a cookbook, you obviously need to move the pots and stuff, but I just think it looks really pretty there. Such an easy plant. Again, it's so low light, very drought tolerant, ticks all the boxes. And then this is actually one of my favourite creations of Ross's, but it's another one he made as a little planter. And I actually don't know what Hoya this is in there. I think, oh God, I think it was like it was something like Hoya 09421 or something. So I honestly don't know. I know it looks, I don't know, it's got characteristics that are similar to quite a few. I mean, pubicalis, Wilbur Graves, like it's, but I know it's none of those things. So who knows? But for now, is that plant actually happy like that? I don't know. It hasn't given me a new leaf in a really long time. That's more of just a like, I wanted something to fill out Ross's pot. So that is where it is. But yeah, oh, there's one more actually in the chaotic side that we're not looking at. This one is just down here for pest treating. It usually lives upstairs in the bedroom. It is a Calathea, oh God, I can never pronounce the name, Vorschwexii, I think is something like that, Vorschwexii, I don't know. As you can see, it's got lots of dying leaves. Yeah, the plant has had thrips, and in fact, I think still has thrips. So yeah, I think I'm actually probably gonna completely chop this one. Oh, I don't know. It's really hard when it's got some healthy leaves, but in my experience with Calathea, if they get pests, often the most sensible thing to do is lop them all back and restart the plant, and they do grow back pretty quickly. So I may well do that. It's a lovely Calathea, and it's actually one of the easiest Calatheas I've ever grown. It's just that it is such a pest magnet, as a lot of Calatheas typically are. But yeah, that's on my to-do list. Oh, look at all that damage. But I am just going to give my hand a wash actually, so I don't spread anything in the plant room, and then I will take you through to the exciting bit. Righty-ho, okay, let's move on to the exciting room with all the planty goodies in it. I've got so many things that I'm so excited to show you in here. So I was going to say, I was about to clear these up, but I thought I would leave them out. These are some biological pest control sachets. A lot of you often ask how I deal with pests, and I've got many different methods for many different plants. However, I do use predatory insects, predatory mites, to deal with a lot of things in my collection and just kind of help keep things at bay. I actually thought that I had more coming, hence why I took all of those ones off, and I've realised that actually they're not going to be here for about a week, so I needn't have taken them off. But starting, in fact, this is not a plant, but I found this in a charity shop and I was like, what a cool terrarium that will be. So at some point, I'm going to turn that into a really awesome planty thing. Down here, so this is covered in cling film because this is a Hoya that I decided to chop up a while ago. It's my variegated Hoya macrophylla, and I chopped it up because it had mealybugs, and it's been looking absolutely fine, and it's obviously rooted in there. You can see it's got really nice roots. However, I was just peering in here the other day, and can you see, I don't think the camera's going to focus. Oh yeah, on the edge of that leaf, do you see that like little white speck? It's still got darn mealybugs. So I'm probably going to have to take it all out, completely treat the whole plant, and then keep it somewhat isolated again in the same way. That again is on my later job. I don't know why, it's just something I'm putting off. So yeah, I will do that at some point. But then this is a plant that I've spoken about so much on my channel over the years. It is my Hoya latifolia sarawak. And this one previously was growing in the living room, and I brought it through here just because, well, basically I ran out of space on the shelf in the living room. But also I was like, it will do really well in this environment, and I like being able to see it a little bit more. It's a Hoya that I just think is so awesome. It's got the most insane leaves, and I just love it. It's one that's become really, really special to me, and it's one that I can never see myself parting with. I did deal with pests with it earlier this summer. You can see there is a fair bit of pest damage on it. But yeah, it's bounced back really well. Ooh, it has got a little new growth point there, which is exciting. That's the first I've seen of new growth on that plant for a while. So yeah, hopefully it will bounce back into action soon and start doing exciting things. And surprise, surprise, up here I've got another Aglaonema. This is one of my favourites. This is an Aglaonema cutlass. Again, like I've said about all of the others, super, super easy to care for, really adaptable lighting, all that sort of stuff. But there's something about the foliage of this one that I just adore. Like, it's almost like it's been printed. It's just so defined, and I love it. So yeah, that one's grown in all different spots, in all different homes I have lived in over the years, but it's just a really great one. And next to it, it's got a yellowing leaf, is my Epipremnum. What is this? Is this a global green? I think it is. Yeah, I think it is. Again, it's looking at it does get neglected, this one. I think because it is just kind of tucked down there. I've trained it to kind of go up the side there. It's actually covering a plug that I need to deal with. It's really nice. It's very easy. Honestly, it should be looking better because it is such a low maintenance, easy plant. But I think sometimes when plants are super, super low maintenance, you go, oh, well, they'll be fine for another few days, another few weeks, and then they are left looking a bit raggedy. And actually you can see there's like stretches of vine there that don't have any leaves on anymore. And that is my fault. That is my own fault. And seeing as we are here right next to it as well, this one is my Mandula pothos, and I love this one. Again, this one did give me issues recently. You can see it's got some stretches without leaves here as well. It was so root bound. I gave it a massive pot upgrade, but previously it was growing in like, I think about a 10 centimetre pot, and oh my God, I couldn't believe it when I took it out of that pot. I actually did it in a video, you guys might remember. But yeah, it's now doing much better. It's putting out lovely new growth. I've trained it to kind of go round the petioles of this plant, and I think it looks quite nice like that. Yeah, look at that new growth. It's doing so well and has bounced back really, really well. But yeah, this plant doesn't have a particularly pretty looking pot, and pots can just be so expensive. I could like redecorate or revamp that pot, but I haven't got around to it yet. But if I just stand back, I typically notice the leaves of the Mandula pothos first as opposed to that pot because it's kind of covering it, you know. But yeah, love that one, really easy again. But then coming down to my shelves, where should we start? In fact, you know what, before we get down onto the shelves there, this big beast here, this absolute giant, this is my Monstera Thai constellation, and this is hands down the biggest plant I have ever brought into my collection. Like, I know I've got some very big plants, but typically I'll get my plants as smaller plants and I will grow them big myself. But I came across this one on a Facebook Marketplace group, and I think it was £200, which, although, don't get me wrong, I'm highly aware that is a lot of money to pay for a plant. If you know how much these kind of plants usually go for, it was a very good price. And so I was like, you know what, I don't know where I'm going to put the plant, but I'm going to get the plant. So I did, and I absolutely love it. It's just amazing. I love it so much. So yeah, it's brought me a lot of joy. I know some people in the comments were like, why would you get a big plant? Because I want to, okay? Because I want to. It's my collection. So yeah, I love it so much. I can't get over the size of its leaves. And it's one that also previously I have struggled with. So for me, getting one that was a little bit more mature and kind of set up for success, I don't know, it just felt like a better decision. But as I say, all of the credit goes to the lovely person. I believe her name was Charlotte, who I got it off. Yeah, all credit goes to her because she grew this plant to the lovely level it is today. Again, I have got grow lights in this space as well. That is a Sansi bulb. That one and the one that I showed you in the living room in the corner over there, those two, in fact, I can show you because I have got the little remote here. Those two I have, you can put them on timers, but like I have them on, like I turn them on and off like that. It does the same thing here. So if I want to just turn them off, I can, which is quite fun. Makes my life easier as well. And then the other bulb I've got over here, again, that's a Sansi bulb as well, but it's not one of their like remote ones. And then all of the other grow lights I've got in this space under here are kind of tucked away. These are Mother grow lights, and I absolutely love Mother as a brand. I've used them for years. Again, I know my cabinet is not up and running at the moment, but the grow lights in there are also Mother grow lights, and I love them. These ones are also on timers and they're dimmable and all that sort of stuff. Again, I'll leave all the details below this video. But let's start top shelf, work our way down, and then we'll move on. There's a lot to get through in here. But this one here, this is an Anthurium Crystal Hope, which I believe is a cultivar of just Anthurium crystallinum. It looks very similar to Silver Blush. A lot of you guys have asked me before whether or not it is a Silver Blush hybrid, but nope, to my knowledge, it is just a Crystal Hope. For an Anthurium, this one grows so quickly. Like these leaves here closest to the camera, they are still kind of hardening off. It throws out a ridiculous amount of growth in such a short space of time. And I'm actually growing this one in no drainage at the moment. I've got a layer of semi-hydro at the bottom, layer of soil at the top, and I've been growing it that way for over a year now, and the plant does seem really happy like that. I think ideally it would be getting a little bit more light. Obviously it's kind of getting dappled grow light. And this room is northeast facing. But I don't know if you can tell, God, it's messy and the grass needs a cut. But outside, our garden is so high. And although we do have outside here as well, we've got the other house that like blocks the light. This room actually, it gets like half an hour of sun in the morning. And apart from that, it doesn't actually get that much sun. So although it gives the illusion of being like a super bright room, a lot of that is done through grow lights. But yeah, I could appreciate a little bit more light, but it's obviously doing pretty well there. And then behind it, I know I said I had loads of Scindapsus cuttings. This is my Scindapsus trebi that I chopped up not that long ago. Again, the mother plant was just getting a little bit raggedy. You can see all the roots in there, it's just rooting in water. The mother plant was getting a bit raggedy. Previously, I had the whole thing climbing like all the way along there. You can see the little twisty clips that were holding the vines. But I just thought in the long run, if I want the plant to look fuller, healthier, and just nicer, I'm going to chop it up. So I've got some cuttings there, and then I've also got some down there at the back that are also rooting. So hopefully soon I'll be able to pot them all up and have a really lovely big full plant. Often a good reset is just what you need, you know? Like, I used to be so precious about chopping plants back and being like, no, I don't want to lose a leaf. And now I've started doing it more regularly. I'm like, you know what? It's a really good way to just kind of get things back to a good place. No regrets. But then I've got my variegated Hoya Wyetii. This one is so lovely. And I know I was saying earlier about the standard Wyetii, how I sometimes ignore it a little bit. I think because this one is obviously in the space that I spend more like active plant care time in, but also just because like the new growth, it's so pinky and like pastel-y, and I don't know, like even just standing back and looking at that plant, it just makes me so happy. So yeah, it is one that I have struggled a little bit with mealybugs on. Never an infestation, but just like the odd one or two. And whenever you find mealybugs on a Hoya, at least for me, I'm like, oh my God, no, because they can get into all the little cracks and crevices and they can bring down, oh my God, no, I thought that was a mealybug. Thank God it's not. But they can bring down your plants really quickly. So yeah, I try and pest check as much as I possibly can. And then here I've got my Anthurium magnificum, which has just recently thrown out this insane leaf. Like, look at the size of that. Isn't that gorgeous? And I've had this plant for years and years and years. This was a hand-me-down from my friend Emma's plants that I took off her hands, I think probably about 4 years ago now, and it did really well initially, and then I went through a period where this plant was just looking really sad. And in fact, that leaf there at the back, you can see that is quite a sad looking leaf. It's very, like, I don't know, it's just a bit gammy and like it's a bit cracked and not very happy. But finally, I think we've turned a bit of a corner, and this leaf it's just amazing. It's just so lovely. The Magnificum also makes lovely hybrids. I know I showed you earlier my, over there on one of the little shelves, my Crystallinum Magnificum hybrids. Love that one. And I've also got some other Magnificum hybrids that I'm a massive fan of. But yeah, just growing it in a chunky soil mix. I've made it a little sphagnum moss collar to help the aerial roots develop. But that's it. It's a pretty low maintenance plant otherwise. And then this one in front of it, this is a recent addition to my collection. It is the Monstera siltepecana, and I've grown this type of plant before. I owned it many years ago and absolutely loved it. I genuinely can't remember what happened to the plant the first time around. It may well have died. I may well have given it away to someone. I can't remember, it was that long ago. But just recently I found myself really pining after it and just looking at pictures of it and being like, oh my God, it was such a lovely plant. And I came across it in a garden centre the other day and I was just like, oh, I think I need to do it. Just look at those bluey, silvery leaves. Aren't they just gorgeous? They catch the light, they are stunning. So yeah, when I had this plant before, I grew it on a moss pole and I was really trying to get it to size up. And this time around, I think I'm just going to let it trail. I'm quite enjoying what it's doing at the moment. Obviously, this will have to be a temporary space. It will probably grow quite quickly here, but I've got my little hanging rail at the top there, so I might at some point get it going like around that or something. But yeah, one that I'm really, really excited to have back in my collection. But then coming down to this shelf, so this is my Dischidia oyantha. I've shown you a couple of cuttings from this plant as we have been around already. It's just a really lovely one. It's been really easy for me. Fortunately, that's not wood, but touch wood, touch wood. It has never been affected by mealybugs because I can imagine it is one that would not be fun if it did. But yeah, it's actually growing in a slightly unconventional way. I don't know if I can get the camera in there to kind of show you. I've got it growing. Oh, there we go. I think you can see. I've got it growing in a no drainage vessel, and again, I've just put semi-hydro at the bottom, soil on top. I propagated it from cuttings in that way, and fortunately they all rooted, and that has just been so easy. I let it completely dry out, and then occasionally I would just fill it up with a little bit of water. So yeah, it's been super, super easy for me to do in that way. I'm actually just going to take a couple of things off the shelf because I can see this becoming chaos. Let's just take a few things off. But then behind it, oh, this actually I only recently put back on the shelves. What is this one? I think it's known as an African rose or something. It's not looking great right now. It's one of the ones that was outside for ages because it had thrips. I think being right by the back door, in fact, you can see a little graveyard of plants out there at the moment. When I have got plants that aren't doing well and I need to like pest treat, or I just don't want in this space anymore, I will just stick them outside, and I must confess, more often than not, they stay out there for longer than they should. All of the ones out there, I think, have been out there for at least a month. I do need to do that. But yeah, that one has recently come back in from outside. It no longer has pests, which is good, and it is putting out some new growth. Oh, yeah, there we go, some new growth. So I guess we'll stick with it and see what it does. I'm not sure whether or not I should chop it back and let it kind of put out more growth points. What would you guys do if you were in my position? Would you chop it back, or would you let it keep growing? Yeah, but anyway, decision for another time. And then this plant, oh dearie me, I must put the name of this on the screen. I've tried memorising it so many times. It's a hybrid Anthurium that was actually pollinated by Daniel, who's on my Patreon. And Daniel, I saw you at Morven and very kindly gave me some seeds, or in fact, I think this was a baby plant when he gave it to me. But yeah, as it's got more and more mature, it's been so much fun kind of watching all of the little characteristics form, because initially it was quite, as Anthurium seedlings often are, it was very round in its leaves, and like you couldn't really, not much was being given away. But yeah, with these last couple of leaves, it's looking really exciting. So yeah, I can't wait to see what it does for me next. And then behind it, I've got my Delta Force, which, oh my goodness, has just given me, in fact, this is still hardening off and sizing up. This one, it has just given me the most beautiful leaf. It's given me a couple of nice ones before this, but firstly, got pests and has been very, very pested. But I don't know, they weren't quite as big and magnificent. And whereas this one, it's just gorgeous, isn't it? It's still quite a young plant. I've only had this plant for, I think I've had it just over a year actually. Again, I got it as a tiny seedling, but I'm really happy with its progress. I'm really happy with how it's doing. And one thing I love with this one as well is that it's got, it's a bit floppy at the moment actually, but it's got a fern that has just randomly popped up in the back of the pot. And in fact, that's happened with a few of my plants recently. And I just think it frames the plant. Oh, it snapped. No. But I think it frames the plant really nicely, and I think it looks really nice. So yeah, I'm just letting it grow in there. This, what is this? I have a feeling this might actually be rotten. This was an Anthurium Bessier Af Cross Regal, I think. Yeah. I'm going to put that to one side and I'll check it properly after I finish this, but I think that might be a goner. Oh, this little one is a teeny tiny little Anthurium Rocquianum. I have always really struggled with the Rocquianum. I've had several in my time of owning plants. Somehow now I've actually ended up with two. We'll get to the other one shortly, but this one I got a couple of months ago as a tiny little baby from Wisley. which is basically a kind of like a little mini Kew Gardens. It's got an amazing greenhouse and glass house, but it's also got a really nice garden centre. And yeah, since I've got it, it is already, that's a new leaf there, it's already sizing up really nicely. Like this one that's closest to us, that leaf is like, I don't know, that's actually, oh, is that a thrip? Oh, you know what, look at that. Do you see at the top? I think, is that a thrip? Oh no, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. Okay, we're in the clear. But yeah, it's sized up amazingly so quickly. I'm keeping this one way wetter than I have done with other ones in the past. Like, I've often let my Anthuriums dry out a little bit more, and I think now because I have got two, I've kind of had the freedom to play a little bit more and experiment. And this one I'm growing in like such a chunky mix. It's barely got any soil. It's mainly just like orchid bark, tree fern fibre. But yeah, I'm really, really trying to figure this plant out because I love it. I've just always really struggled to grow it. And the two that I took off the shelf down here, this is a Hoya compactor, two different types of variegated Hoya compactor, in fact. I don't actually, I would guess that maybe this is an Albo and this is an Aurea, but I don't know exactly if they've got different names. The one on the left, again, came from my friend Emma's collection. It hadn't grown much for her in the, I think, 2 years she had it, and I do know that this is a very slow Hoya to grow, even when it's not a variegated variety. But this one on the right, this one actually has grown quite a lot for me in my time of having it, and this is another one that I got at Malvern when I was there earlier this year, and it has put out a fair amount of growth. So I don't know, I think maybe, should I mix things up for this plant? Maybe it needs even more light. I mean, it is living literally right under a grow light. Maybe I could be doing more. I'm not sure. And then here, again, just propagating in water, I've got some Dischidia watermelon cuttings. These are very rooted and could definitely be potted up. It's a really, really lovely one. It's also flowering, or has flowered, or is getting ready to flower. It keeps flowering. So yeah, it's obviously quite happy, but I just need to do a little bit more to kind of get the plant going, because I'd love to get a big full plant of that one. And then, oh, this is an exciting one. This is a bit weird because it might not look like much, but this one is, oh my goodness, what's its name? I've had a complete mind blank. I cannot remember the name of this one, which is really annoying. But it's commonly known as the living fossil plant. Basically, these two little leaves here, they are cotyledons. They're not actual, they're like seedling leaves. They will never get any bigger. But these two leaves that it's got here will be the only leaves that this plant ever grows. Like, it's not one of these ones that'll put out more and put out more. And in fact, I will find a picture and I'll put it on the screen of firstly what this plant looks like in its natural habitat. I'll put that picture on the screen, and then another picture of what it looks like when it's grown as a house plant or like cultivated in a home environment. It's just amazing, and it's quite an unusual one. And I managed to get some seeds when I was living back at the flats, which was probably getting on for a year ago now. And I tried growing this plant from seed, and it was so difficult. It's one that is so prone to fungal issues, and so I think I had about 5 or 6 seeds to start with, and this is the only one that has made it, the only one that's survived. But it is now getting bigger and bigger. It doesn't look like much at the moment, but I'm just really excited to grow it big, and hopefully it won't take too long. So yeah, I'll keep you updated with that one. But it's just a very, I don't know, it's one in my collection that I find very unusual, and I'm just really excited by. Here I've got another section of the variegated Hoya macrophylla. This is actually from the same plant that I was talking about there that has got mealybugs. Yeah, this was the bit that didn't have mealybugs, hence why it's not in that container. Then at the back, this beautiful one here is the Alocasia simpo, which is a hybrid alocasia. I think it's, oh, I'm having a mind blank today. I can't remember, what is it crossed between? I think it's crossed between Lucky One or Lucky One and something else. I can't remember. But yeah, again, it's growing in semi-hydro, as pretty much all of my alocasia are. I've said it before, but my love for semi-hydro, which by the way, I am not in any way sponsored by, I don't make any money from talking about semi-hydro, but I just rave about it all the time, because for a lot of my thirsty plants, such as alocasia, it has just made my life so much easier than growing them in soil. I don't know exactly why, it just helps to regulate their watering a lot better, I find, and their roots are healthier. And yeah, just makes growing them so much easier, because I struggled with them before. I've got another alocasia at the back here. This is an alocasia scalprum, which again is growing in semi-hydro. I was going to say as well, I've made in-depth videos explaining semi-hydro, so again, I'll link it down below if you want to know more. But this one was doing much better. I really neglected it. I basically didn't keep its reservoir topped up, and I just didn't keep an eye on the plant. So I chopped back about 4 leaves from it recently. So it's looking a little bit sparse now, but it is still such a cool one, isn't it? It's so like scaly and reptilian. It's awesome. And I've never got an accurate ID on this Anthurium. It's growing in an old kimchi pot in sphagnum moss, and I should really pot it up. I've said that for such a long time. But I got this thinking it was a pure papillolaminum, and as it's growing and as it's developing, I'm starting to think that it's actually not a pure pappy. I've had so many theories about what it could be, but yeah, none that I've ever been like, yes, that makes sense. So again, guys, if you think you know what this is, let me know in the comments. I'd be really interested to know your theories. Whatever it is, it's lovely though. I'm just not entirely sure what it is. And then I've got some more Hoya cuttings at the back here. This is my Hoya meredithii. Oh, that's doing so much better actually. Just feeling those leaves, they feel really succulent and plump. Oh, look at those roots. Yay. This is one that was not doing well for me recently. I had to chop the entire plant up because I was worried I was going to lose it. And it makes me so happy to see that it is finally doing well again. Because yeah, look at those leaves. Aren't they so pretty? That veination is just gorgeous. And then these two at the front as well, 2 other little alocasias. This one on the left is the alocasia mellow. And if you look at this one up close, just look at the texture of that leaf. Isn't it cool? I always think it looks quite, I don't know, like quite plasticky. Like it almost looks like something that's been created, like an outer space plant, you know? It's so weird. This one I actually though have struggled with quite a bit. I had the mother plant of this, I think about a year ago, and it just didn't grow for me. It was giving me no growth at all. I couldn't figure out what was going on. Eventually I repotted it and I found some corms, and so I propagated the corms, and this is one of the corms. The mother plant though, very sadly, rotted away to nothing and I couldn't save it. So fingers crossed this time around we get on better. This corm has obviously sprouted and it's given me a few leaves, but we are temporarily back in the 1 leaf club, which is very sad. So yeah, fingers crossed at some point we'll figure that one out. And this one, I always want to call alocasia black velvet, but I think it's actually, I never talk about this plant. What's this one called? Alocasia ninja, maybe? I actually don't know. But yeah, it's very pretty, obviously. I love that. I'm a sucker for dramatic veination. It's very velvety and lovely. It's been very easy. It hasn't ever really blown my mind. It's one in my collection that is just kind of there. And I don't know. Like, it's not one that I'd consider getting rid of, but it's not one, I guess, just that I have a lot to say about, you know? But yeah, that is the top shelf. Let me just pop things back on the shelf to make some space. But yeah, then coming down to the lower shelf, this one here, another alocasia. An alocasia actually that for ages wasn't doing very well for me. It's the alocasia sinuata, and this one, I mean, it's so beautiful. Look at that leaf there. It had fungal issues for a while, which you can kind of see remnants, or is that pest remnants? It's actually hard to tell through the camera lens, but yeah, it just wasn't doing that great. And it's an alocasia that I absolutely love, and I always feel quite privileged to grow because this one nowadays is purely cultivated in a home environment. I believe it is completely extinct in its natural habitat just due to deforestation. But anytime I have a plant like that, it always feels like, not that I'm not grateful for all of my plants, but it always just really makes me feel like I need to work that little bit harder to really bring out the best in it and like spread the love if I can, like take corms, take cuttings, like share the plant, you know? I think this one is getting back on track. It's looking better than it has done in a while right now, I would say. The fact it's got so much new growth is really good actually. So yeah, oh, look at all that. Also, a lot of you often ask like when a plant is dripping water, what that means. It is a process known as guttation, and it's basically just your plant processing the water you've given it. It doesn't always mean you've overwatered. Some people say like, oh my God, does it mean I've given my plant too much? It can mean that, but it doesn't always mean that. Like for me, a lot of my plants that I grow in semi-hydro, whenever I fill their reservoirs, I find that they guttate a little bit more. But then this one, oh, again, I need to take this one off the shelf. This is one of the Anthuriums that I am the most excited about. This is the Anthurium El Condor, and I got this as quite a little plant. It was giving me leaves like that when I first got it, and I'll try and find a picture and put it on the screen of what this plant can look like when it's big and mature. It's one that you really don't see about very much, and I didn't pay like ridiculous money for this plant, but I came across it and I was just like, oh my God, why are more people not growing this plant? And the last few leaves it's given me, this was the last big one, it's really starting to get those kind of mature characteristics, like the really spaced lobing and the ruffly sides. And also, I literally noticed yesterday that it is starting to put out another new leaf. So I do hope that maybe this one is going to be even bigger and even more magnificent. Also, I'm currently kind of got it displayed in an old wine cooler, but again, I'm growing it in a kind of mixed no drainage system. I've got semi-hydro at the bottom, soil, sphagnum moss. Also, its roots are really pretty, aren't they? They're so pinky and gorgeous. But again, the plant seems really happy like this. I wouldn't recommend it for all plants, or definitely not all types of Anthurium. I know some Anthurium really need like insane aeration around the roots, and that wouldn't be right, but this one seems really happy like that. So yeah, I'm super, super excited for this one. And then at the back, like I've already shown you, I have got some more Scindapsus cuttings, really, really rooted. In fact, they probably could be potted up now. I just haven't done it. And this Hoya, what is this? I think this might just be some kind of latifolia. I think it's, let's call it latifolia. Really pretty. It's one that I neglect too much. Like, I think because I'm growing it in this little jar and it's not naturally climbing this way, I've just kind of wrapped it there to disguise the shelves because I don't really like the look of the shelves. So yeah, I should be doing more for this plant. It's got insane leaves though, like it goes all the way up here. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? But yeah, I should really get it onto a trellis or like allow it to climb a little bit better, you know? Yeah, I was going to say as well, these shelves, I get questions about these shelves from time to time. I got them from IKEA. They're called Vitsjo shelves, I think. And here in the UK, you actually can't get them in white. They only come in like black brown. Personally, for my kind of aesthetic, and I think because the amount of plants I've got, I wanted quite a clean look. So I spray painted them white. And as you can tell, I didn't do a particularly good job. So yeah, they do the trick for all of my plants, but yeah, I would do things differently were I to go back and do them again now. But then at the back there, I've got my Hoya Wilbur Graves. That one is just not doing particularly I don't know, it's doing all right. I've chopped this Hoya up so many times. I've said it before, this is one that for me was a little bit anticlimactic when I got it. I got it at the point where the Wilburgraves was quite a hype in the plant community, and I thought it would bring me more joy than it has, basically. So yeah, it recently had root mealybugs. I chopped the whole plant up, propagated loads of sections of it. I'm starting it again, trying it in semi-hydro. Let's hope it does better things this time. But yeah, it's just kind of taking care of itself at the moment. I'm not paying it a massive amount of attention. I've got some more Mandula pothos cuttings here. I took these cuttings when the mother plant started going downhill, just in the event that I lost the plant and I needed to start it again, because I do love it so much. So yeah, I will probably at some point pot these ones back in with the mother plant, get it looking a little bit fuller, and then yeah, I think that's it. What else? Oh, I took this one off the shelf. This one here. This is another very beautiful Anthurium. However, another one that I have struggled with, and you're seeing it again looking its best at the moment, but this is the Anthurium Angamarcanum. And I think I established quite recently that it had fungal issues. Again, a few of my Anthuriums had, or a few of my plants, sorry, had. So I gave it quite a big chop back. But what has seemed to always be the pattern for this plant is putting out a leaf like that, the leaf looking beautiful and lovely for like a month, and then all of a sudden getting all of these like brown patches with yellow around them, and then slowly starting to look very raggedy and then dying off. I took the plant out of soil, I put it in sphagnum moss, I treated it for fungal disease, and I chopped off all the other leaves, and since then, again, touch wood, it has been fine. I think it's too soon to tell whether or not we're actually out of the woods yet, but I feel like I'm further along with this plant this year. I actually, funnily enough, if you watch my houseplant tour from last year, you might think that the plant looked better then, but I actually feel like I know the plant better this year, which is interesting, even though it doesn't look as grand, if that makes sense. So yes, and then I've got some more Hoya. Well, again, this is a Hoya I reset fairly recently. This is Hoya David Cummingii, never know how you pronounce it. But another one that I chopped up to reset because I was not getting the most out of it. Since I've done that, it has started putting out loads of new growth, which it hasn't done for ages. So again, good decisions, reasons to chop plants. But yeah, I need to, again, get it on a trellis, but I'm looking forward to what it does at some point when it gets going. And then at the back, this is one, it's quite a sad one really. This is a plant that I wanted for such a long time. This is a Scindapsus tricolour, and it's so lovely. Like, the colours within those leaves are so pretty. And yeah, as I say, it was on my wish list for years and years and years. And then at the Grow Tropical stand, I found it at Malvern, and I was like, oh my goodness, this plant that I've wanted for ages, I can finally get it. And it just has not grown well for me. And I know that I could be doing more, like I could be getting it onto a moss pole, but like if you look at that, it's just getting super tenderly, like, yeah, like no foliage, just big stretches of empty growth, and the growth it has got is getting smaller. And I know you might be thinking, oh, well, you've got it in a spot down there that might be a bit too low light. It was for a while right under my grow lights there. I just kind of changed it up to see if it would make a difference. So this is actually one now that I am contemplating getting rid of. Like, I'm sure there's lots of people out there that would want this plant. So yeah, I feel like that is probably the best thing to do. But yeah, that's sad, isn't it? Sometimes though, plants don't grow in the way that you hope them to, and sometimes you might want a plant for ages and then you actually get it and realise that it isn't everything you wished it was. And then down here, again, an Anthurium that I love but have had dramas with. This is my Anthurium Draconopterum, and it's such a cool one, isn't it? Like, that lobing is just amazing. I love it so much. It's got so much personality. But again, like when I moved house, this one really suffered. And I think it came down to quite a few things. I think obviously the shift in environment is massive whenever you change a plant's space, like whenever they have to readjust to new conditions. But yeah, also it did have pests. So eventually I lopped the entire thing back. Again, you can see I've made it a little sphagnum moss collar here to kind of activate some of those aerial roots. But yeah, this leaf is great. This leaf hasn't browned. This leaf looks really happy. There have been no signs of pests, which is good. So hopefully this is... Oh, hello, Yoli. Hello. Hi. Do you want to come and say hi and look at the plants as well? I think you do. I think you do. But yeah, hopefully this means... Yoli, what are you doing? Hopefully this means that the plant is on track to continue. Oh, I've got a treat in my pocket. That's what she's doing. Yoli, you naughty girl. Would you wait? Look at her. Wait. Sit down. Oh, you are so good. There we go. Oh, I am so sorry. I hit that right in front of your nose. All right, thank you. Now we're going to pause there for just a moment because despite the fact you've been listening to me bang on about plants for almost 2 hours, we're only halfway through. I know, crazy, right? For both our sanities, I decided to break this video into 2 parts, so if you've been wanting to grab a coffee and a piece of cake, now is your time to do so. I'll link part 2 down below this video, but if you're enjoying it so far, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and let me know in the comments which plants so far you have added to your wish list. I would love to know. Right, part 2. I'll see you in a sec.